To start out, I want to extend our thanks to the Women's Freedom Forum Board and the advisory members who work tirelessly to improve the rights of women through events like this and many, many other activities here and in Europe. These include Paula Corrado of New York, the president of the WWF, Sister Acres of Ohio, Mitra Samani, Zara Amanpour, Carol Fontaine, Donna Hughes, who's with us today, Linda Pendergast, Lynn Dykstra, our representative for UN issues. We are affiliated with the United Nations. Sulmaz Abuali, Barbara Forster, and Judy Patasco in California. Thank you for those refresher notes. All right. And for the Congress people who have always supported these efforts and all of our events and helping us get our message out, these include Loretta Sanchez, who you just met, Representative Sheila Jackson-Lee, Representative Judy Chu, Representative Eleanor Holmes Norton, Representative Brenda Lawrence, who is new to the Congress, and Representative Debbie Dingell, also a new Congresswoman. We appreciate their support, ongoing support, so much. So, this year, International Women's Day comes at a time of increasing human trafficking, human rights abuses, and violent extremism. From Iran, where a regime that has always targeted women as a way of ruling through fear and atrocities like acid attacks and executions, to North Dakota, right here in the US, where the Bakken oil boom has created a wild west of sex trafficking and a dramatic increase in crime, up to 30% in some aspects of crime. In all of this, women are in trouble. And because of this, women's families, communities, and nations are in trouble too. It is hard to envision any society moving forward when half of its population is left voiceless, oppressed, and largely powerless. Countering violent extremism has been the topic of many conferences, research projects, policy strategies, all over the world for the past several years. But only recently has the role of women been taking a more prominent place in these discussions, considerations, and efforts. At the White House Summit on Countering Violent Extremism last week, National Security Advisor Susan Rice highlighted one reason that turning to women to break this cycle just makes sense. She said, "Who is better than a mother to spot unusual behavior in her child and intervene?" While many countries and organizations have worked out unique programs to involve women in countering violent extremism, a few common key approaches can be found in most of them. Many have discovered, for example, that finding ways to give women to access to information and to each other by supporting and creating grassroots women's groups in which they can share concerns and testimonies about, for instance, terrorist recruiters that are getting to their children, those have empowered women. That is one of the key concepts that keeps coming up over and over again in these discussions and policy meetings. Another popular approach is helping women wipe out the impact of violent extremist messages by creating their own counter-narratives. Counter-narratives that in some cases can demystify the life of a terrorist as a young person who is not empowered to do something aggressive and full of hate to make a change in the world, but instead someone who is isolated from his family, from his community, and in constant fear and anxiety of being killed himself. Women can paint a very different picture than what the young people are hearing. And another issue, many are convinced that engaging women in local government and the military, in some cases, as Loretta mentioned, including bringing them into the police ranks or other security positions, will make the women of those communities more likely to go to the authorities, perhaps with their concerns about terrorist groups trying to recruit their children. In addition to these strategies that focus on a woman's influence on her children, the empowerment women achieve when they work together, and the impact of counter-narratives and women working in security, the point on which everyone agrees is that gender equality is critical for peacemaking at every level. Stable societies begin with equal rights and equal respect for men and women. The National Council of Resistance of Iran, led by President-elect Maryam Rajavi, considers gender equality the -- priority, the most critical foundation of the secular, democratic, human rights-oriented, human rights-focused Iran that this group envisions. The Iranian women who risk their lives to protest the violent extremism they face every day from their regime and its brutal enforcement of its ideology are no doubt among the bravest, if not the most courageous women in the world. And we will learn more about them today. Women may be in trouble, but they are also part of the solution. 15 years ago, the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 declared that women must be part of the peace process and security work if peace and security are actually to become a reality in this world. That resolution here led to the Women, Peace, and Security Act, which is now in the Senate. It's in committee right now, and the U.S. National Action Plan on Women, Peace, and Security, as well as many other initiatives around the world. So in the past 15 years, you see the domino effect of very great initiatives stemming from that UN resolution. So that is good news. And it is also good news that the role of women in peace, security, and countering violent extremism matters to you and matters enough that it brought you here today. So thank you for being here.